Raised from the Dead by DKI Apex Restoration. This is Goalball Sports, episode 6, along with our producer, Dave Myers, and the Ghost of Bear Bryant. I'm Uncle Joe. Welcome to the program. Bear? I think we're going to get started by looking at some of Bear Bryant's favorite movies. Talk about his favorite movies. The Ghost of Bear is here. He wants to share. Land of the Lost.
Oh, Uncle Joe, I love scary movies. I want to pay respects. I want to pay respects to my friend Vince Dooley, who passed away last Friday. A class act, a great man, Vince Dooley of the Georgia Bulldogs, won a national championship in 1980. Just a class man. My thoughts are with his family. I do love scary movies, Uncle Joe. One of my favorite that I used to watch back in the 70s was Land of the Lost. I love those slee stacks. The thing about those slee stacks, they couldn't move very fast. They couldn't move fast at all. Kind of reminded me of some of the defensive backs that used to have in Alabama. They was All-Americans, though. Tommy Wilcox, Jeremiah Castile. I think they could have done a better job of covering Jalen Hyatt. Tennessee. Them Alabama defensive backs were too slow. They look like slee stacks, Uncle Joe. They look like slee stacks. So Alabama's defensive backs was in the Land of the Lost in Neyland Stadium.
Slee stacks. I don't really know what that is, but 2 words, only 2 words tonight. I love you. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's one of my favorites. I used to coach down at Texas A&M. That coach ain't got there is making a mockery of the SEC in the state of Texas. 1-6. It's been 50 years since A&M was 1-6 in the conference. 1970, that's terrible. So I'm going to rename that movie the Texas A&M Chainsaw Massacre, starring Jimbo Fisher. That's what I want to do, Uncle Joe, make a sequel.
You know, them boys down at Texas A&M, you know what I'm talking about, Bear. You know what I'm talking about. The Exorcist, Freddy's Revenge. I remember spinning my head completely around when I made the... What's that, dear? I wasn't in The Exorcist. Go ahead, Bear.
Well, Uncle Joe, I'm glad you brought this pictorial in at Neyland Stadium. Because when I look at these 2 movies, The Exorcist, that was scary. It's a very scary movie. Scared me to death. Can't you see? Scared me to death. But Josh Heupel exorcised the demons against Alabama, broke a 15-game losing streak for the Vols against the Tide. My beloved Crimson Tide. My beloved Crimson Tide. Then Freddy's Revenge. We guess we could call it Josh's Revenge. Florida Gators won the last 5 of the series. He got them 2 and broke the streak. I really admire what Mr. Heupel's doing in Knoxville right now, Uncle Joe.
Neyland Stadium. Nice replica. About 1985 or so. You know, when I was young, I once paratrooped into Neyland Stadium on the back of a nuclear missile. What's that? I've never been to Neyland Stadium. Bear, we're both struggling.
I made a few trips to Neyland Stadium. It's a tough opponent. I went 1672 overall as a head coach versus the Tennessee Vols. They were a tough opponent.
And I remember I remember some against Johnny Majors, Alabama players had snot bubbles coming out of their nose. Dadgummit, they attack. Tough to keep up with the Alabama players.
Johnny, we had some great matchups.
I remember when I was in the movie Psycho, and that shower curtain scene, one of the scariest scenes ever in... What's that? I've never even seen Psycho, Bear.
Well, that's another scary one. It scared me just as much about as Freddy's Revenge. There's a psycho coach in the SEC West right now. His name's Mike Leach. And I see Jurassic Park, and I like Jurassic Park too. But I sure don't know what he's talking about, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That guy's lost his marbles. He's a psycho. He's a psycho, Uncle Joe.
Leech. They just cling to you, and you just can't hardly get them away from you. You know, a leech just continues to take and take and... What's that? Oh, Mike Leach. Oh, that coach. Why? He's about lost his mind. That's the truth now. He's about lost his mind. And if anybody knows when somebody's about lost their mind, it's old Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe knows. Oh, yeah. Jeepers creepers. Where'd you get those peepers? Tell us some more movies, Bear. We love it.
Well, Uncle Joe, Jeepers Creepers is one of my scariest ones I ever seen. But I brought a video for you tonight to see.
I say right foot creep, oh, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch some bad, walk down, face them with that heater. The devil under your feet, you on your way to see him. Stress me when I can't sleep, bang out when I see you. Play with me, you can't sleep, we got into the seashore. You won't have no case, we range your sex soon as they face you. You won't have no space, we in your sex until we spray you. I say right foot creep, oh, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you.
Uncle Joe, that Brian Kelly's a creepy man. Back when I went down recruiting, down into the deep sticks at Birmingham, I used to meet with the mamas, the grandmamas, and the granddaddies. We'd sit around, eat chitlins, just talk about life. That's how I got the good ones to come to University of Alabama. And now you got Brian Kelly creeping out recruits with strobe lights, rap music, dancing with them. I don't know what to think about it, Uncle Joe.
Let me just tell you this. I also used to go down south into the homes of the families, and what I really enjoyed was sniffing the girls' hair and coming up behind them and getting ridiculously close while sniffing their hair. What's that? I never been to Birmingham. I never did that. What else you got, Bear?
I got Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Wait till they
That
get a
one was
load of
scary.
me.
Have you seen that one?
Here's Johnny.
Uncle Joe, I'm still having nightmares from watching Johnny Manziel beat Alabama in 2012 and win the Heisman. Boy has no class. He got a lick of class in him. It had never been on my field playing for me, but that one hurt me. That one gave me nightmares, Uncle Joe.
Red drum. Red drum. Red drum. That's scary stuff, Bear. You giving me the willies. I'm getting all willy just up in here. Nailing. There's been a lot of dreams crushed in Neyland, Bear. You had any dreams crushed in Neyland? You know of anybody that's had their dreams crushed in Neyland?
I think one of the scariest characters is Jason Voorhees. There was a nightmare at Neyland Stadium at this place. Jason Altree, 17 penalties. It's gonna give Alabama fans nightmares for hundreds of years. Uncle Joe.
Well, you know, I'm confused. Believe it or not, I ran into a man named the Joker today. What kind of name is that in? What kind of name is the... Am I through here?
Uncle Joe, he was in Batman.
No? Okay. The Joker. And he told me that as a Tennessee fan, I'm a Tennessee fan, right, sweetie? Yeah. Tennessee fan, I should not be proud of my victory over Alabama because the referees cost y'all the game. Now, Bear, you don't blame referees for loss. Do you?
Uncle Joe, I'm just saying it was a nightmare for all Alabama fans. You got to be able to overcome adversity. Alabama did not overcome it the proper way. Should have made the 50-yard field goal, but it all came down to two kids kicking.
You know, I've heard that. I have heard that. I can't remember it, but I've heard it. You know, that kick, it thrilled my soul, Bear. It thrilled my soul.
Well,
I just can't tell you what it meant to me.
are you saying you're a Michael Jackson fan?
Ooh!
I love that old Thriller video. Let's see if Dave can dial it up right now.
It's going. It's going. It will. Yeah, you're good. Copyright.
It's a thriller. Not in Manila. The Thriller.
It was the greatest football game of the season I've seen so far. I see these Tennessee and Alabama helmets out here on these tables. I think we're going to see a possible rematch sooner than later. What a thrilling game.
A rematch. I think that's where the two teams play again? Could that happen? Well, sure, it could happen. All they both got to do really is win this week. Easy peasy. It's just like getting elected when 80 million people vote against you, baby. Ain't nothing to it.
You're funny, Uncle Joe. You're funny. I gotta share a funny story with you before we go to the next segment.
Let's do it.
Did you know how I got my nickname Bear? I was in Fordyce, Arkansas. We had a carnival come to town. You could wrestle a big grizzly bear for $1. And I took the challenge. And I took that grizzly bear down to the ground and pinned him. I think it was 800 pounds. They never gave me $1, but I got the nickname Bear. It lives on forever.
Well, Bear, I once wrestled a grizzly bear down on the southern border. I was down there watching people run past.
Joe, you didn't.
What's that?
You didn't wrestle a bear.
I've never been to the southern border. I don't even know what's down there. I don't know what state's down there. I don't know nothing about it. I don't have any good stories about me, Joe.
Uncle Joe, I think you've lost your marbles, son.
Marbles? I want to play marbles. You just take them and flip them with your thumb and roll the little marbles. Yeah, I used to be a champion marble player back in Scranton. In the previous 14 years, Bear, Tennessee beat 10 ranked opponents. This year, the Vols have beaten 5. Nobody else in the country is even close. Therefore, prior to the first college football playoff rankings that come out Tuesday night, tomorrow night, I, Uncle Joe, I got some peanut M&Ms here. Boy, this looks pretty good. I think our show starts for another hour or so, we're on? I proclaim the Tennessee Volunteers the number 1 team in the nation. Bear, number 1.
Well, Uncle Joe, I've looked at the analytics. Tennessee's strength of schedule overall 17. Georgia's 87. Ohio State plays in that little week. Big Ten. I think Tennessee's got a shot to be number 1 tomorrow night. The first college football playoff poll comes out.
All right. Seems like there was something else we were supposed to do. The podium. That's it, the podium. The podium, where we like to give out weekly awards to those who are worthy. Not always the headlines, but those that are worthy. We got gold medals, silver medals, and bronze medals to award from the podium tonight. I'll get things started tonight with a bronze medal. My bronze medal.
I'm excited about this award right here. I watched the super fans at all the games, and I noticed 2 Telehomans on TV this past Saturday. They won Fox Sports Saturday with Clay Travis. My bronze medal award's going today to Leanne Champion Phillips and Terry Bailey. They got a video to show you folks because they are Vol super fans. Come to the podium and get your bronze medal.
Saw Leanne, grocery store yesterday. You know, her and that fella she's with, they're pretty excited about the Tennessee Volunteers and wanted to just make sure you're okay.
You tell him I'm doing just fine, can't you tell?
You're looking good, Bear. You're looking
Matter
good.
of fact, he's one of my kinfolk. Despite the fact that he's evolved.
Bronze medal winners. There you go. It's time to hand out the silver now. I got a special silver medal for my friend Jacoby Thomas. Saturday, Jacoby Thomas had his first career interception during Middle Tennessee State University's 24-13 win over Texas.
Pressure coming.
Paso.
And the pass is picked
Thomas
off.
also had 6 tackles during the game. He's got 21 tackles on the season and a forced fumble to go along with a pick. And I think you're looking at video of that pick right there, Kenny. Bear, he had a pick 6. Just got too excited, a little too excited. Maybe, I don't know, tripped over a teammate's feet or something. But nice play by our friend. You know, when Jacoby was in the 7th and 8th grade, he moved to my neighborhood. And he'd be running around on the street playing and everything. I remember one day, I think it was a Halloween night, we were gathered down at the common area, and Jacoby said one day I was going to be calling his name on the radio. And one day he was going to be a college football player. And then a few days later, there was another Tullahoma Wildcat in my neighborhood named Mandrell Porter. Mandrell Berry. And he was a senior on the Tullahoma Wildcat football team. And Jacoby Thomas and Berry raced when Thomas was in the 8th grade, and Thomas beat him. So I knew right then that Jacoby had some talent, boastful but talented. And, you know, I've learned you got to have that confidence to excel, to make it in the college football. You really got to have that confidence. Jacoby's got it. Congratulations on that interception. I hope more come. Hope you're a future draft pick as a defensive back. Silver medal tonight for Jacoby Thomas. You should have recruited him, Bear.
Certainly a worthy recipient. I watch all the games. I've got a good seat in the heavenlies. I see every game, every play that's made, all the coaching decisions, all of it, winners and losers. Don't make no excuses. You get down, get back up. You get knocked down, get back up. My silver medal award winner, I love defense. I love the fact that you showcased a defender, a former Tullahoma Wildcat, as your silver medal recipient. I also have a defender winning my silver medal this week. Gold Ball Sports, Episode 6, Ohio State Buckeye defensive end JT Tolomalu went completely berserk. That man had a game, reminded me of my old linebacker Leroy Jordan. Barry Krause, Marty Lyons, all them great players I had, All-Americans. This guy had 8 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, a pick 6, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. He was a one-man wrecking crew. And the best player on Ohio State's team Saturday. J.T. Stroud may have dropped to number 2 in the Heisman. Sleepy, wake up. Wake up, Sleepy Joe.
Heisman?
J.T. Talamalu, my silver medal recipient. Step up to the podium, J.T.
I'm confused. You gave a medal to a suck-eye?
Worthy recipient. I have no respect for persons. I say it all. Call it the way I see it.
I got a feeling this whole show is a joke. Or maybe not. You know, I once told a joke. I remember we were sitting. What's that? You don't want to hear about my joke? Okay.
Uncle Joe.
Let's do gold medals. What do you say, Bear? Gold medals. You got one hanging off your head. Gold medals. Tonight, my gold medal goes to the Tennessee Volunteer Defense. Just the whole defense. All they did was hold that mighty Kentucky offense to 205 total yards. All they did was hold Heisman #1 pick, all-world quarterback Will Levis to 98 yards passing. The 2 consecutive sacks on Kentucky's first drive of the second half, one by Kansas transfer Dejon Terry, and one by Tyler Barron, closed the door on the Wildcats and forced me to write in my notebook, "Game over." And it was over right then. First series, third quarter, over. Gold medal. It's the truth. Tennessee defense. Congratulations. Come get it. Huh?
Uncle Joe, I watch Maury Povich when I'm not watching football, and he said, hey, Kentucky Wildcats, the results are in. Tennessee is your daddy.
Who's your daddy, baby?
I speak a little bit on the serious side. I used to coach Kentucky. Matter of fact, the last time Tennessee and Kentucky met as both teams in the top 20 was in the 50s. And I was the head coach at Kentucky and coached against General Neyland. That was a wonderful game. But Tennessee owns this series now. They've won 35 out of the last 38 games in the series against the Wildcats. 44-6, they got blasted. Never had a chance.
Swept them in basketball, swept them in baseball, beat them in football. We beat them so bad that during one of the timeouts, the Tennessee Vols brought their SEC champion basketball team out to parade around the stadium and be introduced as SEC champions, and then all marched over in front of the Kentucky fan section and waved to them and showed them their championship rings. Bear, that's trolling, baby. That's the ultimate troll.
I don't like bad sportsmanship, Uncle Joe. We'll talk about that a different day. I got to give away a gold medal here. And I've really been watching these Alabama quarterbacks. Of course, you know I coach Snake, Kenny Stabler, Bart Starr, Jeff Rutledge, Walter Lewis, and all them boys. But I sure am excited about what I've seen in the NFL out of them Alabama quarterbacks right now. Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts. Tua, 151 passer rating, exceptional. Quarterback rating in the fourth quarter at one-score games, 151 passer rating, number one among NFL quarterbacks. And all Jalen Hurts has done is win 10 consecutive games as starting quarterback with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a first in their 90-year history of their franchise. The Bear salutes Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL. 2 in Jalen. Come get your gold from the Ghost of Bear Bryant.
Alabama. Gosh, we're hearing that a lot.
Be easy for you to remember. Get it in your head, Sleepy Joe.
I think we hear more about Alabama when they get beat than we do when they win. Oh, Bear, you crack me up. Yeah, no, I said it, Bear. Yeah, that's Bear. It's time for a new segment, Bear. Time to give out a participation trophy.
Gold Ball Sports, where participation trophies simply don't cut it.
Now, a participation trophy is for those who have done things bigger and greater. What's that? Never mind. Our participation trophy is actually for those who have done stupid things. Okay? Said it, acted it, got involved in it. I don't know, maybe beat people up just randomly. Participation trophy this week goes to the Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State, the pride of Michigan, except for that other Michigan team, which beat them Saturday. And then the Michigan State players just decided to assault Michigan players in the tunnel and just started beating them up, throwing them around, kicking them, punching them. Bear, you let your team behave like that?
Uncle Joe, you don't have a very good memory, do you? Did you not watch the video at the top of this segment? When we started this show, I talked about I want my players to fight. I want them to fight, but not fist fights. If you get knocked down, you get back up. And then you keep getting back up. You're going to get knocked down in life. But it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up.
You know, they had a video of me riding a bicycle. I was just riding it across the street. But the wind was blowing really hard. And it blew me over. But, Bear, you know, I got back up. And that's how I'm able to be here today, because of my heroic actions.
That's what life's all about.
Really is.
That's what life's all about, Uncle Joe. I've got a participation trophy to give out. Once again, it happened at Neyland Stadium. I was watching Saturday night. Game against Kentucky, blowout. Offensive lineman for Tennessee got overly excited. I love passion among the players. I love to see them get excited, harness it the right way. That's what teamwork's all about. It's the spirit of the game. That's what it's all about. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin just about split poor Gerald Mincey's head open with a headbutt. Mincey didn't have a helmet on. Dave, cue this video up for me.
Look at old Jerome Carvin. Headbutt.
That's gotta hurt, Bear. That's gotta leave a mark.
I will tell you what, that gave my skull a headache. What?
You know,
Got a headache and my skull started to bleed.
I know that you think, Bear, that he wanted to headbutt him. But you see, because Mincy didn't have his helmet on, actually, what he wanted to do was just smell his hair. Just get up behind him and smell his hair.
I don't have any hair left, Uncle Joe.
That's
You may
actually
have to go
what's
find a
going on.
cheerleader on the sidelines.
Those are fine participation trophies, Bear. We need to put that back in the safe. We're going to need that next week, I got a feeling. And we may need some red and black to go on it. Ooh, ouch. You know, speaking of stupid, these guys down in Texas, there's some things you just don't do. And one of them I found in my long career of serving the public. Maybe that's two. Let's see, there's one, two. Yeah, it's one thing. One thing I've learned is not to smoke weed before a college football game in the opposing visiting locker room. I've learned that. And that's called, they did what?
Hey, boys, that's the new definition of the word junction, boys, ain't they? They smoking in the boys' room. Joe, Sleepy Joe. Sound like I need to come
Motley
out of
Crue,
retirement and
baby.
get them back in Texas on them hot, sweaty days and break them boys down. Teach them a few life lessons. Teach them some discipline.
You know, Bear, that might explain why they 1-6 in the conference. And already talking about the $180 million it's going to take to buy Jimbo out. That might be why. Seems like seems like a lack of discipline.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the freshman quarterback, Connor Wegman. David H. ain't a running back. That boy runs hard. He could have played for me back in the day. They was projected to finish 2 in the SEC West. They had the #1 recruiting class in entire college football history last year. Jimbo's not getting the job done.
Ranked number 6.
It might be time to write that young man a $96 million check.
Number 6 in
Tell
the
him to go back to
preseason
Florida
poll.
State.
When you say that Shrimp Boy, Jimbo, and his team are the biggest flop of the college football season. What do you think?
Yeah,
Oklahoma and Texas A&M,
We're
maybe?
already working on the sequel. The Texas A&M Chainsaw Massacre. Starring Jimbo Fisher.
Bear, let's look around the SEC from last week. What do you say? Take a little tour, a little quick tour. Now, I can
Yardage record. You know, back when I coached against Johnny Majors, they had Stanley Morgan, all them boys. They was known as wide receiver U. Jalen High trying to put the wide receiver U back in Neyland Stadium. Much to my chagrin.
your
Much to
old,
my chagrin.
your old Kentucky team, Bear, They're not what they used to be. They're not what they were back in your day. At least that's what I read in the book. Bear, Kentucky, fizzling once again, just fizzling out, and yet Auburn.
Hold on. I don't think Mark Stoops is much punkin', Uncle Joe. He's overrated. He ain't much punkin'.
Ain't much punkin'.
No.
Honey, what's he talking about? Oh, he's not much of a coach, really, is he?
I believe he's overhyped.
Overhyped, physical team, big old line. Tennessee's defense looked strong Saturday. Looked really strong.
I was really impressed with that defensive back named Slaughter. That Alabama transfer, Brandon Turnage, the cornerback. They had 3 interceptions in that game, and they made the Kentucky quarterback look rather pedestrian, if you ask me. Made him look pedestrian.
Danico
Slaughter.
Arkansas 41, Auburn 27. Auburn Tigers have fired their head coach. The two teams that I probably can't stand to watch as much as any. But Arkansas with KJ Jefferson back is back to being a really solid team, and Auburn's toast.
The Hogs broke a 6-game losing streak in the series. Tough matchup for Auburn. Auburn fired Brian Harsin today. And I hear a rumor that Deion Sanders might be number 1 on the replacement list. If that happens, I don't know how Nick Saban and Deion are going to coexist on these Aflac Duck commercials I've been watching from the Heavenlies. But I would like to wish a happy Halloween birthday to my friend Coach Nick Saban. He's a Halloween baby, Uncle Joe. October 31st, he's a Halloween baby.
You know, I remember when I was born on October 31st as a Halloween baby. It was a strange night, a windy night, rain, and I was on a mission with the Coast Guard out. What's that? I wasn't born on Halloween.
No, you are asleep.
That was somebody else. Georgia beat Florida 42-20. The Dogs back to looking machine-like. Florida tried to show a little spark. Anthony Richardson not 100%. They're never going to win without him at 100%. Florida's just, they're not very good either.
The biggest story out of that game for the big matchup between Tennessee and Georgia this weekend may have been the Georgia injuries. Right tackle Amaris Mims, number 1 lineman a couple years back, came out of that game. He may be out against Tennessee. The defensive end linebacker Nolan Smith additionally may not play against Tennessee, and those are 2 huge losses for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Missouri went into the greatest college football atmosphere in the country and pummeled South Carolina 23-10. Missouri is terrible. Nothing against the fine folks in Missouri, by the way, or in South Carolina. Great people down there. You know, I once went to, what's that? It's not story time, Bear. South Carolina, Jekyll and Hyde. What happened?
Well, from my vantage point, what I saw was that Coach Drink opened up a can of Wood Bud on him. Can of Coca-Cola. That's what I used to drink in my day on the old Bear Bryant show. Potato chips, Golden Flake. It's the only kind I have. It's the only kind I still eat. Golden Flake potato chips and Coca-Cola. Coach Drink opened up a can and broke the 4-game win streak of the Fighting Gamecocks.
Ole Miss beat Texas A&M 31-28. Game again, Texas A&M fighting back at the end, trying to overcome a deficit. They couldn't do it again. Lane train moves on. Is he going to Auburn?
That's a big win. That's a big win for Lane Kiffin, and I don't think he's going to go to Auburn, but he's right square in the SEC West divisional race with a shot at the SEC championship game. They've got an off week this week with Bama coming in 2 weeks for CBS. Gary Danielson will be covering that one. My least favorite announcer of all time.
Really?
He's going to be there.
You don't like Gary?
No, I'm a Keith Jackson fan. Keith, the ABC Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson.
Yeah, that guy.
Whoa, Nelly.
That guy. You got a good memory, Uncle Joe. You're going back far now. You're going back to my roots. Keith Jackson on ABC Sports.
I got you say I got a good memory. Let me tell you about my memory. I can't remember what I was going to say. Bear, we've only got a few minutes left. And so
Who's this, Uncle Joe?
it's
You know,
time for Mr. Hill. Mr. Will. The big deal. Mr. Bill.
I used to watch him on Saturday Night Live in the 80s, early 80s, while I was still here.
On this holiday, Mr. Ken asked me to choose my college football costume of the week. Too bad Dan Mullen isn't around to play Darth Vader this year. So good. Many worthy candidates this week. Tennessee fan base dressed up as loyal fans. Saturday was the first time since 2006 that the Vols sold out 5 consecutive games at Neyland. Boy, that's 4 presidents ago and before the release of the first iPhone. Sluggo said that bandwagon was the first word that came to mind. Or Jimbo Fisher dressing as Lee Majors, the $6 million man. But oh no, inflation. His 3-5 record this year is a really mean way to reward the boosters for his $95 million contract. But Mr. Bill's winner is Mel Tucker for dressing up as a competent football coach. At Michigan State, another 3-5 record, another $95 million contract, another beating by Michigan, and then his players were really mean post-game to 2 Michigan players. If only they would have been so mean on the field. Well, that's all for this week. Oh, Spot, candy corns will make you sick. Oh, no!
Mr. Bill, bringing the lumber to the Michigan State head coach.
I really like Mr. Bill's segment on Gold Ball Sports. I think he's a nice enhancement for your program there, Uncle Joe.
I remember Mr. Bill. One time I was walking his dog Sluggo, and Mr. Hand came around the corner. What's that?
Uncle Joe, you do like to use your hands. We're not talking about football either. You like to put your hands in places they don't belong.
Oh, your hair smells good.
I don't have any to take off my skull. It's gone.
Before we get out of here, I need to tell you that the Motlow State Bucks soccer team has advanced to the Southeast District Championship game by virtue of a 4-0 win over Dyersburg State in the TCCAA championship game. The Bucks have shut out their conference opponents this year. Not shut out, outscored 48-1. That's soccer, 48-1. So Motlow advances to the Southeast District title game. It will be this Friday, November 4th, 6 o'clock, Franklin County High School in Winchester. South Georgia State is Montlow's opponent, and whoever wins will advance to the national tournament. So congratulations to the Bucks, head coach Andy Lyon, and their continued pursuit to return to the national tournament. It's pretty impressive. They went last year, trying to go back. I remember when I went to the national tournament, we were playing lacrosse. What's that? Oh, it was, never mind, it was a convention. It wasn't a tournament. I knew we went to some big building with a big crowd. Ken,
Sleepy Joe, we got to pick some games.
Bear?
We gotta pick big games for the SEC this weekend.
Bear,
We got a 1 versus 2 matchup we got to talk about.
oh, you're just overwhelming me with all these facts. Number 1 versus number 2. You think that's how you think so?
That's a good possibility. I don't care what the polls say tomorrow night. 3 of the best 4 teams in college football comes out of the Southeastern Conference. I'll throw Ohio State in there too, but I've got Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama in the top 4.
No Texas A&M? So LSU and Alabama play Saturday night. The winner will have a straight shot to the SEC championship game. The loser will not. That's really the key there. The loser will not have a shot. But the winner will. Where is this game being played, Bear?
I'm going to tell you exactly where it's being played. It's being played in Baton Rouge. But the good thing about that for Alabama fans is history's on Alabama's side. History's on Alabama's side. Let me tell you why. From 1969 to the year 2000, 31 years, Alabama never lost at Louisiana State University at Baton Rouge. Alabama owned the series. It doesn't matter if you're playing at nighttime, daytime. LSU's got a 77% win percentage at night after 6 o'clock. They've got a 50% win percentage in the daytime. This game's at night. Alabama's quarterback's got a week off to heal his shoulder. Bryce Young. He's going to be another one playing in the NFL. Just a magician with the ball in his hands. Reminds me of Steph Curry with a football in his hands like Steph does it in basketball on the basketball court. Alabama's going to win this game.
I like Alabama. Sweet home, Alabama, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home, Alabama. I'm coming home. What's that? I'm not from Alabama. Tennessee and Georgia. Number 1 versus number 2, the game of the week. This week's game of the year. All the pressure's on Georgia. Tennessee's the upstart. Tennessee's the flashy, flash in the pan, flashy. Everybody thinks that once they go into Bulldog country down there in Athens, that they're going to get brought back to reality by the fundamental, hardcore Georgia Bulldogs playing their junkyard dog defense. I'm picking the Vols. I'm on board. I like this Heupel kid. I think he's doing good things. I think it's a dream season. And it's magic, baby. It's the magic man. Shake and bake.
I think I agree with you on this, and I'm going to tell you why. Tennessee does have history on their side. The last time they were 8-0, started the season, they won a national championship in 1998, beat the Florida State Seminoles. Back when my good friend Bobby Bowden was there. Great coach. Had a man named Rooster at quarterback that game.
Hey, speaking of games, you remember that time? You remember that time at Georgia scored a long bomb with just a few seconds to go, and Tennessee got the ball back, and Josh Dobbs went back and just threw it as far as he could, and that guy number 15, Juwan Jennings, he jumped up. A bunch of boys were around, and he jumped up with a football. That's the last time Tennessee beat Georgia.
Yeah, I saw that. So that's about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And so this matchup's going to come down to Tennessee explosive offense, 49.4 points per game, versus the vaunted Georgia defense giving up 10.5 points per game. Something about this Tennessee team. I like Hendon Hooker at quarterback better than I like Stetson Bennett. Tennessee's defense is underrated. I've got Georgia favored only by 6 points. But I think I'm going to pick Tennessee to win this ball game. The Bear is predicting that the Great Pumpkin, Phil Former, is going to come give a pregame speech to the Vols, along with Jamal Lewis and Dale Carter and all them Georgia boys. And they're going to upend the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens at 2:30 on Saturday.
Hey, Bear and Joe, we got a little image we can put up on the screen.
Okay.
Oh, he's not back.
We're not through
He's not back.
because I want to welcome everyone back to the Slim Reaper. The Slim Reaper ends our holiday show. You hear that sound? Sanford Stadium? That's Josh Heupel's knocking on your door next.
I've heard that sound before and I don't like it.
Bear, thank you for being here. We've enjoyed your presence. Well, thank you. We're welcome back anytime. But
Thank
next
you.
week,
I really appreciate it.
Scott and Ken will be back. That's it.
Have me a Coca-Cola. Have me a Coca-Cola on the next show with some new golden flake potato chips, please. I ain't had a bag of them since 1982.
Scott and Ken will be back next week. Best I remember. We appreciate you tuning in. For Dave Myers, Ken Keller, I'm Scott Chastain. Have a happy Halloween and be good to each other.